Hello.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the pod.
It's good to be here. It's funny, we were just talking about, we both listened to New Heights, which is Travis and Jason Kelsey's podcast, and we're we made a sad comparison, but it's fine.
You know
It's
what? We all start somewhere, okay? And also, we're
yeah,
not NFL players,
we're
so
not famous. We don't have any sponsors. They have quite a few, actually. I was trying to think of them.
we are also not pro athletes that decided to start a podcast. So, they do have a slight leg up in the fact that people don't know who they are because of their podcast. They have a podcast because of their professional careers. So,
That's true. That's true.
yeah.
Yes. Although when this comes out, this is like old news now, is the Travis and Taylor universe is blown wide open by a very public display of affection. If you're on TikTok, you already know. It's probably old now. Something else has probably happened when this podcast comes out. But I know I was stoked for both of them. And I think it's amazing and hilarious. And I think they're both really good people. And I hope that this is like, oh, look at Fearless. I hope this is like the thing.
Yeah. I also love just the way Travis, I mean, it speaks a lot to the parents they have, the mother they have, but the way Travis Kelsey like handles himself, the way he goes about life, and like just the way he handles being with her, like walking. I don't know, it's the little things for me. Like he like always makes sure he's in front of her, like make sure he opens the door for her. He walks on the road side of the sidewalk, and it's just like those little things go a long way when you know what you're looking for, if that makes sense. Like those are little things that when I start hanging out with a guy, I'm like, you're gonna let me walk on the roadside? You don't care if I die? So
Yeah, I think it shows that he is like, he's a gentleman, right? Like I feel like raised right is like the right term here. Like his parents were like, listen, you take a girl out, like be respectful, like hold the door. Like I feel like, and maybe, and I know that his parents are divorced, but I think they got divorced like later in their marriage. And I feel like at some point, you do have to like, most people learn by example with relationships. So there's obviously some strong relationships in his life. I mean, look at his, but also like look at Jason Kelsey. Like his little family is so adorable, and
have
he's
you
just like,
watched the Kelsey documentary on
I
Amazon?
haven't, but I've seen clips of most of it because of TikTok. But it is on my list, and I can just tell he's just like a dad and a good one, right? And you just know like he's the kind of dad who doesn't say, yeah, I have to babysit my kids today. Like he's not that guy, right? Like if any men are listening, if you ever say that you have to babysit your kids, get out of here right
It is
now.
funny. I would suggest watching. I've watched the documentary, and then if you haven't seen their podcast episode that Kylie's on, I think Kylie is a very
Oh,
underrated
she's hilarious. I
person.
love
I
her.
love her, and I think she's funny, and she's like the exact personality to be with someone like Jason. I was telling Jess before we started recording that I'm somebody who is very drawn to football guys. I think their personalities are cool. I think the community within football is super cool. I think there's a lot of like culture and respect, and like I just think football as a whole creates a certain type of man that I appreciate, but they are the definition of their positions that they play. Like
Mm-hmm.
I've dated someone who plays O-line, and they're like, no offense to anyone who has been with an O-line man, they're usually not like the swaggiest, coolest people, which is very Jason. Like he just has like a scruffy beard and wears hats, where like Travis gets to hang out with like the cool, swaggy players and
Patrick Mahomes.
like dresses accordingly. Like he is well
Yeah.
kept, always in nice clothes. And I just like the first time I watched their podcast, I was just like, oh my God, they perfectly fit the stereotypes of their positions.
You know what's funny is that I think it's hilarious when I feel like it happens with women too, but I think it's more obvious when it's men is when their personality reflects their sport. Right, like hockey players, there's like language that goes along with it. There's like some swagger that goes along with it. There's like terminology that they'll say that you're like, you're a hockey player.
Yeah.
Or basketball players, it's like the same, right? Like it's super interesting. Even like even guys who are like more like the outdoor sports, like skiers, snowboarders, like you're like, oh, yeah, that checks out. I was even saying the other day, we were talking because lately my favorite toddler free activity has been going to the pet stores that have actual pets that you can buy. Now we'll never, we have a hard, like, no rodent, no bird policy, no reptile in our house. But I was saying to my husband, like, man, they had a bird for sale. It was like $1,000. And you know what? I just can never, I don't know anybody who's like, yeah, like, I think I'm going to go buy a bird. And he mentioned, he was like, yeah, this guy that is a ski patroller. He's like, I think he has birds. And I was like, that totally checks out.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's like, it's funny when people fit like a stereotype and you're like, yep, that's totally, like, I wouldn't have pegged you. Like, I wouldn't have come out and said it, right? Like, I wouldn't have come off the top of my head. But now that I know that, I'm like, yep.
Yeah. I think
That
it's
makes
one of those like nature versus nurture
Totally.
things. And like Kelsey brothers are a prime example of that, of like grew up in the same house, had the same parents, very different people. So I think it's funny when you start to learn people's things and you're just like, everything makes more sense now. So,
And the world is complete once again.
yeah.
But speaking of that, do you have a win for the week? A football win, perhaps?
I don't have a football win. I'm not dating a football player, so maybe one day I can I've done it in the past. We gotta find a new one, maybe one day. But we'll work on it. It'll be a win one day.
Everyone has their patterns.
Yeah, it's better than hockey boys. No offense to anyone who's married to a hockey boy, but
nope,
no thank you. But anywho, win for the week, I don't know. Life is busy. By the time this episode comes out, things would have settled, but I'm currently in the thick of transitioning client apps. And I don't know why I didn't think this was going to be stressful. Like, I'm not confident why I was just like, oh, you can keep a full-time client load and redo the entire back end of your business. Like, that's cool and chill and won't cause any stress. So I've been a little bit high strung lately. But we'll take the win of, I haven't had any like mental breakdowns about this process, like specifically, if that makes sense. Like, I've been high stress, I've done the things, but I've been able to just be like, okay, what needs to get done first? What order do things need to get done in? What's important right now? What's not as important right now? And I think having Adam, who I still don't have a label for.
Shout out Adam.
He's supposed to, he is my account manager, but I think that's a silly title. But I think having, no offense to your title, Adam, if you listen to this podcast, but I'm just going to refer to him as Adam. I think having him be able to be like, you're fine, everything's fine, here's what I need you to do, has been really helpful. So my win is just that even if the transition's been stressful, it's still positive.
Yeah, and I think unrealistic to go into a situation like that and think that like it's not going to be stressful at all, given that both of our businesses are us, literally, right? Like, yes, you have Adam, but his career is not riding on a move that you make, right? He's got other clients, he's set, he's got, he works for a company. Whereas whenever we do things, it is, we talked about this in the last episode when we talked about our business loves and dislikes, but it is stressful when you're making a decision and you're like, okay, here we go. And you're just like, well, now I'm, and then you're like, well, now I'm in it. I'm in too deep. I can't back up because half of my clients are over here and half of them are like, and you're like, well, we'll just go with it. And hopefully it works out.
And I don't even know if it's stress of like I don't doubt my decision. I still think it's the right move. I'm just like, why did I think I could do 2 full-time things at the same time? Like realistically, the amount of work I need to do for the app is like a part-time job on top of my full-time job. And I'm just like, why did my brain not click that like this is going to be a lot of work? So it will all get done, but there's been a few late nights, earlier mornings. It's fine.
Now you know how I feel being a full-time stay-at-home mom with a full-time job that I squeeze in during nap times or after she goes to bed, or I don't do early mornings because let's be real here. But it is a small glimpse into the world of which a working stay-at-home mom has.
Yeah.
Shout out to anybody else who's just like me because man,
We'll take the win of not having a full panic
I like
attack,
it.
breakdown, and crawl into a hole.
Mine is significantly more superficial in that I bought one of those cable pulley things that goes over my squat rack, so that I can specifically so that I can do lat work, and probably triceps too. Who are we kidding? But um, when that I broke down and finally bought one. It works great. I love it. You just add plates to this little post, and you can make it's good for like I have all the plates, so it's fine. It sits on the squat rack. Um, Challenge is that it didn't come with like a wide grip lat bar, so now I have to buy that attachment, which I'm not super upset about it, but now I have to pick how big I want it. So I'm debating between just big, like putting my hands out like this if you're on YouTube and like measuring the distance, being like, yeah, about that. Or I don't know, but there is different distances, which I knew, but like you never really know. You just go to the gym and like they have one
whatever
or
they
two.
have you use. Yeah.
So now I have to decide, which is like I have to make this decision. But bonus win is that it's the end of the year, so it's a write-off. It's basically a free piece of gym equipment.
The write-off people.
It's a write-off. It's a write-off. If you're an accountant, you didn't hear that. Or if you work for the government, you didn't hear that. Yeah, that's my win. I finally bought one. I tried it out today. I did my lat pulls with the rope, which I was like, okay, but like not ideal because I really do like a wide lat pull.
Okay.
We love working lats. But anyways, today, I know you guys love it when we pick a product or a thing that's happening and we sort of go through it and dissect it like we did with Beyond Body. Done it with a couple other things. There was that weird hormone or no supplement company that we talked about that we were like, what is this? We're going to talk about Chat GPT today in particular, but AI in general.
Which I feel like Chat GPT at this point, I almost want to say it's old news. Like I know AI is coming in hot, but I feel like Chat GPT already had its 5 minutes of fame. Like,
yeah, I don't know of any. This is it's the only platform that I really ever use when I'm going to use it. I mind you, I haven't used AI to like generate an image or anything. I don't even know if Chat GPT does that. Basically, if you don't know, Chat GPT is like you just write a question and it gives you a bunch of answers. It's kind of like talking to Google, but it doesn't give you like a website of answers. You can ask it to I know for like my business, I've asked it to give me some things that moms are struggling with their fitness, just to get like ideas for posts or even podcast ideas. I've asked it for a few fitness podcast ideas or things like that, none of which I've really told you about, but just so you know, you can ask it for like branding advice. You can ask it to help name a program or something you're designing, anything like that. The conversation that we kind of were chatting about this and how we came that we were going to do this episode is that I saw somebody in a running group ask if anybody had any super low cost or free programs to follow that they liked. And somebody had commented, I got one from ChatGPT. And I was like, interesting. I wonder what it was like, because in my experience, a free running program is never it's never ideal. In my experience, they're all very high volume, and you get zero nuance with not having a real person doing it. So,
I also think a free anything in the health and fitness world is not what you want. Like, I know it sounds enticing and you're just like, but I don't have to pay for it. But you also get what you pay for. And I promise you, if you're getting a free program, however many other people who have also done it got the exact same program. And I know workouts is like a little bit different. There's a little bit more leeway with like workouts. Like, you'll probably be fine if you do a free workout. We're not talking about meal plans today, but please do not ever take a free meal plan from anyone ever. I don't care if it's the gym you go to. I don't care if your coach is like, I'll do a free meal plan for you. Because as a coach who's actually certified to do meal plans, that shit's a lot of work. And I would never toss one out for free, which means if it is getting tossed out for free, it's probably not what you want to be following anyways. And that's my TED Talk. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, one thing I like about ChatGPT is that you can get really, really specific.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like is that it doesn't infer that you want specifics unless you ask. So, why don't we dive right in? Would you like to do the strength part first, or do you want to do the running part first?
I can do mine. Mine's pretty short and sweet.
Okay.
It didn't really. So here's the question I asked ChatGPT. And if you don't already know and you're listening, this is actually what I'm working on in the gym currently. And our friend Ethan does my programming for me currently. So I'm going to kind of compare it to what I'm actually doing from an actual trainer. But I asked ChatGPT, I said, can you give me a 3-day workout split to help me grow my quads, strengthen my core, and lose fat? I'm 5'4", 175 pounds, and I'm advanced in the gym. Wanted to add that last sentence because I was like, maybe it'll give me something crazy to do in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
It did not. I'm actually very disappointed in the lack of uniqueness from ChatGPT. And after reviewing the program as both a trainer and someone who has a program to do those things, it's going to take me a really long time to hit those goals with the program it gave me. So giving a rundown, and Jesse, you can give your opinion on it. Day 1 is labeled as a quad focus. So I have 6 exercises. Looks like I'm doing them all separately. Barbell back squats for 4 sets for 6 to 8, leg press 3 sets 10 to 12, walking lunges 3 sets 12, leg extensions 3 sets 12 to 15, calf raises 4 sets 15 to 20, and then 3 sets of a 60-second plank. How do we feel about day 1?
And I mean, this style of programming is not my forte. That seems like a lot of the exact same movement pattern. Which I guess if you're doing a quad day, but like, I think you'd be hard pressed to find even like a solid bodybuilder who does an only quad day, right? Most people, it'll be leg day, right? Where we kind of alternate front and back, because like if I do front squats to, I'm guessing it doesn't say any sort of RPE or anything like that. Oh, look at you. YouTube,
work?
you are getting a screen share. Okay.
No, everyone can
Grow my
see
quads. Okay. Like if I did, it doesn't give you RPE, right? It doesn't tell you how hard you should be going. Okay, so that's something that I would need to know. But if I do barbell back squats and then leg press and then lunges and legs, I would not make it to number 4. Maybe you can, because you've been working on this, but like, what would happen if you did this program? Like, let's be honest here. What would happen if you started this day 1?
Currently for the like where I'm at in the gym right now, probably not much. Only because I play with a lot of time under tension,
Okay.
pauses, holds, that kind of stuff. And this
Which
program,
this is also lacking
yeah, which
completely.
this program has none of it. So, in comparison
And
to what I'm currently doing in the gym, I would consider this day one a regression. I would say this is a fairly like moderate workout. Like it's harder than what I would give a beginner, but it's nothing revolutionary or crazy.
I also, I, this might be just my style of training. I don't think 3 sets is enough of anything. I usually give my clients like an option to do 3 or 4 with the expectation that it's going to be more like 4. I
I
also
also think,
don't think this is very, I mean, you said grow my quads. This doesn't scream hypertrophy to me.
no,
And without having an RPE, so if you're not familiar with that, rate of perceived exertion, without me telling you, I need you to be like 8 out of 10 with this weight or something like that. Yeah, I could do barbell back squats, 4 sets of 8 with just the barbell and be like, cool,
yeah.
I'm growing my quads.
I think this
I
puts a
also
lot
don't,
of, I think it puts a lot of trust in the person doing it. But if you're not
yeah.
familiar with what 6 to 8 reps should feel like, that's going to be hard. I would agree. I don't think it's super quad focused other than our walking lunges and our leg extensions. Um, yeah, it's nothing crazy. Like I looked at day one
But
and I was like,
even
okay,
but even lunges, changing your torso angle and you're gonna get more glute.
mhm.
So
Yeah, like day one, nothing crazy. I feel no type of way about it. Like
yeah.
I could do that workout,
Okay.
move on. Probably wouldn't have a big impact in my life. Probably wouldn't be that challenging for me.
Yeah,
Um,
fair.
Only thing that would annoy me is that I have to do everything individually. Is the biggest thing.
Yeah,
In a superset,
yeah,
girl, give me a couple of
same.
things I can do together. Um,
Same.
and the fact that the only core exercise is a plank, that's just boring. It's boring.
And and there um if you are trying to achieve any sort of growth goal in the gym, I would expect programmed rest.
Yeah.
Um, as in, I would write in like barbell back squats, 4 sets of whatever it's going to be, rest 60 seconds in between each set.
Yeah.
The reason for that, folks at home, is you're not getting stronger during the lift. Okay. We all know that we're like, you get stronger on rest days, but do you really know? Do you really know the physiology behind it? Because we need to have your muscles recover just enough to do the next set, but not enough to be fresh for the next set, if that makes any sense, depending on the goal, right? Like, again, like this is all very nuanced. And this is one of my biggest problems with Chat GPT and AI generated workouts is there's no nuance. This is a very black and white, right? So if you're not using a coach to do this, if I was getting this program, I'd email you back, Jill, and be like, hey, can you give me some RPE? Like, how hard should this be? Or how long should I be resting? Right? Like, these are things I would want to know from the
I
coach.
also I also think rest determines your intensity. There's going to be a big
Totally.
difference between this workout if
Totally.
I rest for 5 minutes between sets or
Yeah.
60 seconds between
Yeah.
sets. So I think rest is underrated for determining the
Yeah.
intensity of your
And
workout.
I just had this conversation with a client literally yesterday on check-in day, and it was like, he was like, on this day circuit, I need like a minute in between exercises so that my heart rate comes down a little bit. But if I don't let my heart rate come down, then I realize that by the end, because it's like a 3 part superset, I guess it's a circuit, but it's just like, we'll call it that. Um, if I don't let my heart rate come down in between sets, I'm forced to rest longer near the end of 4 rounds because I can't finish the set. And I'm like, this is great information. Like, and I was like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to let that heart rate come down just till it gets to this point, and then you start your next set. No more, no less. And then we can complete it, but it's taxing upon completion.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff you're going to get from a coach.
Yeah. Then we have a rest day or active recovery. Okay. Day 3, if you're not watching on YouTube and you can't see, we have, again, doing everything separately. This time we have 5 exercises, deadlifts, 4 sets of 6 to 8 hanging leg raises, which I would argue is probably the most advanced exercise in this split. 3 sets of 10 to 12, Russian twists, again, boring. 3 sets of 15 mountain climbers, boring. 3 sets of 30 seconds. And then we're doing a plank again, 3 sets of
and just hold
to 60
static
seconds. Again, they have this labeled as core strength and fat loss. I'm not really sure how this is creating fat loss. I'm not really sure how much core strength this is creating. The only one of those
I'm seeing some hip flexor strength in this day.
Yeah. The only one of like deadlifts and hanging leg raises are probably the only ones I would take and program for someone else. I might feel differently about it if the plank was a side plank specifically. It says plank variations, giving me the option to do it. If that was specifically a side plank, I might feel a little bit better about this workout. But again, I don't think it's going to do anything crazy. It's not super intense. It's not really that high rep. There's not really like telling ChatGPT that I'm an advanced person in the gym. I don't think that's being reflected in a way it's programmed.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I really don't like Russian twists with a medicine ball. People don't do them properly, and it's just, you're not really, you're just using your hip flexors to move a ball around. I do like a little bit of cruelty, and this is probably where I would superset, is the deadlifts and the hanging leg raises, even though if you're at home, it's going to be fine. But if you're at a gym, you're probably going to have to walk over to where where you can hang from a pull-up bar and do your hanging leg raises. But the crossover with that between doing the deadlifts and then using your grip strength again to do a static hold, whew, that would be so fun for somebody who sort of has a secret goal of grip strength, but like they're doing other things too. And you're just like, yeah, I'm just going to trash your forearms by hanging from this. And then you have to go back and do heavy deadlifts again. That seems kind of fun. But other than that, yeah, meh. But I would superset it. Yeah. And plus having the posterior chain with the deadlifts and then working the hip flexors with the hanging leg raises. Cool. Love that. Yeah. Love doing the opposites. But other than that, it is just kind of meh.
Like it's I feel that type of way. I don't like the core exercises they're choosing because I mostly think they're boring. I also don't think they're effective. I also think we're past doing mountain climbers for core. Like
what
so many other options, especially
sidebar. What are your exciting core exercises that you like? Just out of curiosity.
I do lots of kettlebell work, so like carries, marches, holds, dead bug variations. Adding a band, adding a kettlebell. I think adding resistance to core is really underrated.
Yeah.
To lots of like control, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so we're on the same page with that.
I don't know what they're called. Half kneeling kettlebell when you like swing it around, like lots of like stability things.
Yeah.
I just don't think Russian twist or mountain climbers are really targeting your core that much. I think it's going to take a lot of focus, a lot of proper bracing, a lot of like slow control to get it into your core anyways. And most people aren't going to know how to do that.
I always, whenever first of all, I don't program Russian twists. I think I've already mentioned that though, but if you need to hear it again, if and when I program a mountain climber, it is not the fast version. B, it is with the intent of a little bit of core stability with a hip flexor. And I usually add a band so that you have to pull and then resist that with and then work your hip flexor a little more. It's a great movement for runners. But even then, I kind of like doing it in like a march and standing with a band around your feet and then having like a kettlebell overhead or something like that. It just seems to be more fun. People don't like to be on their wrists, just in general.
Or we're adding a pause, or we're doing something basic as 30-second mountain climber. No, thank you. And I can say this because Ethan knows this is how I am. If Ethan programmed a mountain climber for me, I would not do it. I would be like, you know what? I'm picking something else to do. That is the perk of being a trainer who doesn't do their
own. You think it's
like, no thanks, and just pick something else.
You think it's fun to coach another coach? It's literally the worst.
Yeah, because we're just
literally the worst.
I'm gonna do this instead. So then we have another rest day. Then we have a full body compound and HIIT day, which I think we've talked about HIIT many times. And again, I'm doing everything separately, so I'm not really sure how this is a high intensity interval training workout if I'm doing one exercise at a time.
It has to be HIIT because you're doing burpees and sprints.
Yeah. So instantly when I see HIIT, I'm like, well, it's probably not true HIIT. No. Most people who do HIIT training, and this is no shade to you, if you choose to work out that way, you're probably not doing true HIIT training. It's just somebody's decided that if you're doing more than one exercise in a row and you're limiting rest between them, they've decided that's a HIIT workout. But again, the way they have this programmed, I'm doing everything separately, so it's not HIIT. I also don't know what my rest is, so I can very easily make this the complete of a HIIT workout if I choose to rest for 3 minutes in between every set. So
again, no guidance on the rest.
So you have a barbell bench press, which I'm not really sure, seeing as I said grow my quads and strengthen my core.
So far we've only had the 1 day out of 7.
Not really sure where our barbell bench press is doing quads or core, but sure. Then we have pull-ups or lat pull downs, again pretty far away from our core and quads. We have a dumbbell shoulder press, not helpful for either of those. And then this is when we get into the air quote HIIT workout. Box jumps or jump squats, 3x15.
Okay. Yeah, but again, even if you were to do, and this, I'm sorry for the people on people who are listening, people on YouTube, you'll be able to see this really great. Come closer to the screen. Maybe if you're curious about this episode, go to YouTube and watch it, because you're going to see that we're screen sharing here. So basically, exercises 4 through 7 are box jumps or jump squats, battle ropes or sprints, burpees, plank. Even if you were to do those 4 in a circuit, they're not, again, it's just if you're like, let's leave battle ropes aside, because I was one of those things that I kind of have forgotten about, and I'm like, oh, people still do that. Box jumps, sprints, burpees, again, those are just hip flexors. I don't like any of those together. I mean, maybe like burpee box jumps are just mean, but again, it's just fatiguing your hip flexors at this point. We are not, and after however many, you're just in survival mode. And again, just 3 sets of 12 to 15 reps, 30 seconds. Like,
then we have a nice plank.
Again, man, your core is going to be so jacked after this program. And then 2 rest days in a row, day 6 and 7.
Yeah. So overall, it's a no from me. It's not the proper intensity. It's not the proper exercises. It's not going to target the things I need. If you need a little comparison with having the goal of growing my quads currently, I do some variation of leg press almost every workout, whether it's at the beginning or the end. A muscle, especially like our quads that we use every day when we move around needs high volume to see growth. And this program does not have nearly enough volume to create
and
that growth.
basic laws of hypertrophy is it's high volume. If it was like your top, like if you, let's say you had 3 goals, one is grow quads, grow core, and then you said fat loss, right? I like, yeah, you would be doing a quad, probably 2 quad focused things every workout.
You've had one
Day.
single quad focused
and
exercise.
a lot of hip flexors. I'm guessing that after, if you made it through 3 weeks of this program, I'm guessing you would have a sore back because your hip flexors would be just janked.
Yeah. So compared to my current programming, intensity is wrong, exercise selection is wrong, there's not enough information. So like we said, we get what we pay for when it comes to free programs.
But
and
also know that like this is us dissecting this. And so where I see the problem with AI generated workouts is to the untrained eye. You're like, cool, print it off, head to the gym, let's do this. So following it blindly is like, you wouldn't figure out that it's not working until you've been doing it for a bit. And you're like, oh, like, how would you know?
Yeah, until it's been 2 months and you're annoyed because your core isn't any stronger and you see no quad growth.
Here we have a mention of rest times.
Yeah.
It says adjusting the weights, reps, and rest times according to your body's responses and personal preferences is essential. Always listen to your body and consult a fitness professional if needed.
This is my favorite part of this entire program where it says consult a fitness professional. Will this workout do any quote unquote harm? Probably not. Like you said, you're probably going to have some fairly angry hip flexors, but you're also not going to be any closer to the goals we set of growing quads, stronger core, and fat loss, which is, I think, where people tend to end up frustrated and annoyed because they're like, well, I did the thing, I did the work, I went to the gym, I followed the program, but the program wasn't made properly to begin with, so it's not going to get you to where you want to be. And like we said, you're probably not going to figure that out for a quick minute. So now you just followed this program however many weeks just to be no closer to where you want to be.
Sidebar with that, what you just said about you're not going to know until it's too late. When you work with a coach like Jill or I, if something is not working, we will attempt to fix it right away. So quick example, I have a client who's actually one of my long-term clients' partners, who just doing a quick program, getting ready to get fit for like ski guiding all winter long. And his asks were very specific. He wanted like some plyo. He didn't want to do like Olympic lifting movements. Pretty strong guy to begin with. And so I gave him the program and I was like, hey, like this is, it's not beyond my it's not beyond my capabilities at all, but he's not the norm of who I typically coach, right? So I'm like, hey, really want some honest feedback when you start to do the program because I don't know this person. So I'm like, and since it's only short term, it's not like we've built up to this level of fitness. So I'm like, let me know if you need more because I'm happy to kick your ass, basically. And he did. He was like, yeah, can we make this like twice as long or like this? And I was like, yeah. So I like went through the program after like 2 weeks of doing it. And I was like, okay, we're just going to like amp it up a little bit. And I was like, added this, changed this, made this longer, whatever. And every time he does the workout, he's like, awesome, exclamation mark. Like, and I'm like, this is the response that coaches should have, right? It's not just like, here's your program and like, I'm piecing out. hiring a coach should give you the support to get to your goals. If that program isn't getting you towards those goals, or if it doesn't feel like it, they should either be able to say, well, we're doing this in order to be able to do that, or whatever the case may be. There's probably a reason. And if you're using a program that is just templated, you're not going to get that reason.
Yeah. It's the same reason I give every client that starts with me a test workout to be like too hard, too easy, too long, too short.
Oh.
That just saves me time of like building out an entire program. And then they're like, Jill, I hate it all. At least then I can get some like immediate feedback of like, how did we feel about this? Where is our baseline? And we can kind of go from there. I did ask ChatGPT why this program is going to work for me. And it, gave me reasons. I don't think the reasons it gave me are reflected in the program, which is kind of ironic. But it did say, well, considering your advanced fitness level, here's why it should be effective. Targeted muscle groups, not really. Progressive overload, didn't see any of that because you didn't tell me how to change the program. Variety and balance, I saw plank every single day. So I'm not really sure how much variety we have. HIIT and fat loss integration, high intensity exercises on day 5, like box jumps, sprints, and burpees combined with strength training can boost metabolism. That's crazy. Didn't know that was science. Rest and recovery. Rest days are crucial for muscle recovery. Okay, you gave me plenty of rest. Core integration, again, I saw plank 3 times. And customization and adaptation. It's adaptable to your preferences and fitness level. You can adjust weights, reps, and exercises as needed, which means follow the program or don't. Doesn't matter. Because if I go in and change the exercises and reps and sets,
you might as well just write it yourself.
It's crazy. I'm not even following the program that was made for me anymore. So I would pass on the ChatGPT workouts unless you're like, hey, what's a good exercise for glutes? It might give you a couple examples, but would I get an entire program from it? Probably not.
Yeah. We're not going to get any better on the running side. So I've just shared my screen, YouTube. You can see it. So the first question was, can you write me a 12-week half marathon training program for a 2-hour finish? Now, 2 hours is probably above average for a half marathon finish. I would expect anything around that 2-hour mark, and you're decent, right? So, anyways, so they actually said, assuming you have reasonable fitness level to start with, here's what we're going to do. So they give it week by week, which is great. And I made the mistake and I didn't ask them to do it in kilometers at first. So once again, need to be specific. Basically, they gave me just a really general program. So there's more easy running than hard running, which is great. And the highest level they got to was about 60 kilometers in a week, which is probably about right. And then I was like, can you write me a 12-week half marathon running program in kilometers with strength training? Because I wanted to see where they would put it in. And they gave me a different program altogether and added in body weight exercises and weightlifting. Nothing specific. There's a resistance band workout. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with my resistance band.
I love that it just says plus ST. Like I'm not going to tell you what to do, but do something.
So I would like you to pay attention as we get further down this program. I'm just going to scroll here. Where did I see it? Oh, yes. So peaking around week 10 and 11, take a look at Thursdays. They've built us up to 22-kilometer long run on Thursdays, and a 28-kilometer run on Sunday, and then 30 kilometers the week after. The week before your race, you're running 30 kilometers. So I added it all up. 98 kilometers is peak week. 98.
Yeah.
That's a lot
How
of
far is that half
volume.
marathon? 22?
21.1. So
I was
we are
close.
over volume. Now
For a
let me just
non-runner,
say that,
I'm surprised I was that close.
and let me just say that a very experienced half marathoner or a very experienced runner will do over distance.
But
But
that's like
but
they're
I
programming like almost 5 times the distance.
yeah. No, not in well, in a week, you're gonna do more than 21 kilometers. Okay.
But would you,
But
I have a question as a non-runner.
would I run 2 half marathons in the same week? No.
Okay, that was going to be my
No.
question.
No. And a Thursday, so 22-kilometer long run. So I have to figure out how to fit in a 2.5 hour run on a Thursday. When? When am I going to do that? If I have I have a full-time job and a family, how am I going to do that? Right? Like this training plan is not realistic. I don't know anybody who programs or follows a plan that does this much volume unless you're like a professional athlete and this is all you do. But that said, you have one rest day after that long run, and then you got to run 12, and then you got to run 30 again. Like,
And then what's the Monday the next week? Then are you running again on the Monday of week 12?
Yes, but only 5 kilometers.
Okay,
And then
but
8, and then 5.
That's still 5 days straight of running before you
Yes.
go run your actual marathon.
Yes. Yes. So, interesting. That is very high volume. A 98 kilometer week is very high. I think in my peak weeks when I was training for, now I am a very low volume athlete. I'm also, shout out, or just a little sidebar here to, you know, shameless plug. I am a very low volume coach. I find most people who are real people do better with less.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way that I coach. Nobody that I coach would be able to follow this. So okay. So the next thing I asked it was, can you write a low volume 12-week half marathon program in kilometers with paces to run sub 2 hours? And it was same-ish. They gave me one run where I need to run at 5:40.
That was my first. I was like, did you not ask for paces? There's one pace in that entire
Now,
week.
now, in their defense, for easy runs, I don't normally give my athletes a pace. I'll say I want it to be talking pace or, easier, like a heart rate zone kind of thing, right? So they've added a specific tempo run. Okay. Around 5:40 per kilometer. Okay, cool. But again, here we go, week 10 and 11. This time we only peak at 79 kilometers in a week. So we still have, so now that Thursday long run has turned into a tempo run, which arguably a similar, like tempo is hard to recover from. Okay. So, but we do have a rest day on Friday, and then we got to do our long run on Saturday, which is interesting. Most people default to long run Sundays. You probably knew that. But this program, not terrible. I would have liked more specifics, but you get what you ask for, right?
Also, again, as a non-runner, wouldn't an 18-kilometer easy run still take you a quick minute on a Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just checking.
Yeah. So an easy run, you're probably running. So let's say my goal obviously is to run this race at 5:40 per kilometer. Your easy run should be about a minute 30 to 2 minutes slower than that. So we're talking like 7-minute kilometers. So nice and super easy. That is taking me over 2 hours on a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to me. Plus, then I got to run 16 kilometers again on Thursday. No rest for the wicked in this training plan. So then I was like, well, I guess maybe it thinks that since I'm running a half marathon, I'm an experienced runner. The other thing about this plan is it says aim for a pace around 5:40 to achieve a sub-2 finish. Yes, but I've only done 16 kilometers, 15 kilometers tempo run
Never ran 20
for a
kilometers
few
at that
weeks.
pace.
I'm thinking that is going to be a push for me. So
Yeah.
then
On the day of your half marathon, it's like, okay, run your full kilometers at the pace you haven't ran for that long at. Go.
So then I was like, I wonder if I keep it like, because a half marathon is a pretty daunting distance for a lot of people, right? Not a lot of people are like, I'm going to start running, and I'm also just going to sign up for a half marathon. They usually do something smaller first. So I basically asked it to write me a couch to 5K program, 8 weeks. Let's see what it came up. It says, and I liked that it put it in minutes and not kilometers, right? Where keep like 20 minutes doesn't seem daunting, right? The other thing about this is that I'm getting the impression that they're very big on frequency. You're doing 20 minutes 4 days a week, 2 rest days, and then 30 minutes on Sundays.
As a human who, like, this could be me running my first, like, I ran 5K. It's never pretty, but like, this could be me. I looked at that first week and I said, holy fuck, that's a lot of running. Like, for my first week to just be like, okay, have 2 rest days total, and the least I'm running is 20 minutes. Like, that's a lot of running.
And I did say, can you write a run program to get me to my first 5K in 8 weeks? It assumed I was training for a race. What I meant was I just want to be able to do the distance, but I guess I should have said that.
Which is fine. I think it's fine to be like, assume if someone's like has a 5K goal, they might have entered into a race. But like, week 1, you want me running that much already?
Yeah, you're not doing anything else.
I would be out after the first week.
Jill's shins could never.
I would make it to Thursday and be like, that's enough. I'm done.
Yeah. The only thing that I mean, it's fine. It's like, and then you're doing 25 minutes. Like it does go up by, like 5 minutes. You're like, I could do 5 minutes, right? And you're kind of getting that 30, 40 minutes. It does get you up like to 55, 60 minutes on the weekends. It really likes those. It likes doing big volume.
Running, bro.
So much running. It's so much running. It's so much running. It gets you up to in the peak week, you are running about 4 hours total. Okay, which is a far cry from 5K.
Like I said, this could be for me. And I'm literally looking at week 7 being like, I'm doing one of
Jill's
those.
having a minor panic attack, and it's not even.
No, I don't actually have to do it, but I'm literally like, I'm doing one of those runs. There's no way I'm running 5 times a week for a minimum of 45 minutes each time I run.
Yeah. One thing I liked was that when it started, and I'm just scrolling back up, it says, before you start, make sure that you can comfortably run or jog for about 10 or 15 minutes. If not, start a walk-run program a few weeks before this. So they do say like, hey, if you can't run 20 minutes, try something less, which I liked. But yes, it is high volume. Let's say I was making that program for somebody to do their first 5K. First of all, I would never be able to commit to be like, well, I only give running 3 days a week or 4 days a week, because I don't know what your schedule is. So I would need to know realistically how many times a week you can run. How much time do you have in your workout time? Do you have 30 minutes? Do you have 20 minutes? So if somebody only had 20 minutes, I might up the frequency of their runs a little bit just to get a little bit more time on their feet. But it is in my experience that if you can run for about 20 or 25 minutes, you're going to finish that 5K. There's just race day energy and things like that. Would I start a new runner off with 5 days a week of running? No, absolutely not. Probably more like 3, probably more like 2. It is a high impact activity, Studies have shown you're putting 1.5 to 2.5 times your body weight through your joints if you are a new runner, if you're coming back from an injury or pregnancy.
So I make Sims
Yeah,
want to commit murder every time I run.
yeah, and this doesn't allow for any strength training. So I did ask it, what types of strength training should a runner do? It gave me nothing. Oh, it did give me a few specifics. So here we go. Core strength, planks, Russian twists, leg raises. I didn't get mountain climbers, so there we go. Leg strength exercises.
I feel like mountain climbers would be more appropriate for you than me, but
I would think so. Squats, lunges, step ups, calf raises. I don't disagree with any of those. Calves are, especially if you have ankle problems or Achilles problems, you got to do those calf raises. Hip strengthening, clamshells, hip bridges, leg lifts. Okay, not wrong. I would not do a clamshell. There is nothing in running that looks like a clamshell. Glutes, strong glutes. Exercises like squats. Well, squat isn't exactly a glute strengthening exercise. Deadlifts, hip thrust. Meh. I just don't like hip thrust out of principle. I would add in there, I would put the step ups in glute strengthening and not leg strengthening, but okay. Balance and stability exercises, single leg squats, Bosu ball exercise. Now listen.
It's just as soon as
I catch any of you on a Bosu ball, it's over.
That's as soon as I read Bosu, I'm like, oh no.
Now hear me out. It is a great tool for rehab and rebuilding proprioception. I would view a Bosu ball as a proprioception exercise, period.
Full stop.
Full stop. If I see anybody on a Bosu ball or on a stability ball for that matter with a barbell on their back or weights in their hands, you get off right now.
I have a story. One time, okay, when I went to NAIT for personal training, the first year I was there, some man, and like tough go for him. I do feel bad for him, but
hang on. It actually says can improve your stability and proprioception. You're not wrong, ChatGPT, but like, anyway.
So this man, if anyone has been to the NAIT gym, you'll know. If you haven't, it's in the basement. It's kind of scary. Everything is bricks, like the floor, the walls. Like it wasn't made to be a gym. They just stuck some equipment in some hallways and we're like, cool, gym. Ironic that they have a personal training course and not a proper gym, but whatever. Some man decided to do heavy chest press on a Bosu ball in the NAIT gym. On the floor that was bricks. We can see where this story is going. The Bosu ball popped while he was doing his chest press.
So he was his back was on the black side or the ball side?
Well, he used like a full, I should clarify, not a Bosu. He used like
okay. Like a stability ball.
Yeah. Okay. I should have chosen my words better, but which is worse than a Bosu ball.
Yeah, absolutely worse. Clear. Absolutely worse.
Ball pops while the man is doing his chest press. He hits the ground, breaks both his elbows because keep in mind he had dumbbells in his hand, hit the brick floors, broken elbows, which like I feel bad for him. I don't know who put that exercise in his brain. I also don't know what trainers were working that saw that happening that were not like, hey, don't be doing that. So there is very select exercises to do with Bosu or stability balls. And a chest press, probably not one of them, especially on a stability ball on hard flooring.
The question you have to ask yourself with a stability ball exercise like that is, does this need to be unstable? Can this be hard enough stable? And the answer is almost always yes.
Like I do hamstring curls with the stability ball. I also think you got to go like risk versus reward. Like
that is the weight of your legs on the ball and your back is on the floor.
That's what I mean.
You are stable. It's not
Risk
because the
versus
ball
reward.
is unstable. It's just because it's a ball.
Yeah. And
right?
I think
It doesn't, the fact that it's not because you're not doing the hamstring curls there because it's making your hamstring curls unstable. It's because you needed to roll. You could do hamstring curls and put your feet on the seat of a rowing machine and it goes back and forth. It's the same exercise. It
but
just,
I think
that's what balls are for.
if we're going stability ball, we gotta go.
Sorry, I'm a
We
12-year-old
gotta go
boy.
risk versus reward here. Like a hamstring curl, low risk. Worst case scenario, the ball pops, my feet hit the ground. I'm fine.
Yeah.
We probably don't want
Sidebar,
to put our whole body weight on it.
those are supposed to be anti-burst. But anyways.
So which means it's probably overfilled, and I hope that man sued Nate. I'm not gonna lie.
So just going through the rest of the exercise, nothing is standing out to me here. Functional movement exercises, resistance band drills, high knees, lateral leg raises can improve your specific running mechanics. But how? But which ones? Not if you're doing them wrong. Okay, yoga and static stretching. We all know that static stretching isn't really helping you get more mobile, or flexible. So foam rolling, it's a useful tool for recovery. Great. So, very, very basic. I'm going to stop presenting now, YouTube. So as a coach, okay, my first thought was when I was looking at that high volume program, if you were going to blindly follow that program and just not really look ahead and be like, I'm just going to trust the process and I'm just going to do it, I don't think you would make it to your half marathon. I think that you would be injured well before that.
Or you would have told to me and said, this is way too much fucking running. And then you would have stopped following the program.
Or you're going to look as like Jill said, like as somebody who doesn't run, who was like, hey, maybe I can add in some running to do a 5K. Now, I didn't ask it to add in 3 days a week to get me to a 5K. Maybe that would have given me something better, but you may have looked at it. You may have asked ChatGPT to do that for you, and you looked at it and you're like, nope, running's not for me. So as a running coach, when I add run programming to somebody's strength, or when I'm designing a run program to get them to a goal, like a race or a 5K or whatever, it is a much more in-depth process than just asking for a plan. Like if Jill was like, Jess, can you help me be able to run a 5K? I'd be like, yeah, but I have questions. And those questions would be things like, how much time are you willing to devote to this goal? How many days a week can you run? How much time do you have to run? Are you running when you're already at the gym? Like, are you adding this like before or after your workouts? Or is this something you're going to do on your quote unquote rest or active recovery days? There's a lot more to it than just, here you go, Jill, happy 5K. Because I don't know what she really wants. Right. And so having to manipulate my questions as such to get exactly what I was looking for from ChatGPT was actually kind of annoying. And as a run coach, like I said, I don't know a lot of people that can handle that much volume. And I know a lot of runners I know a few volume queens. That is very few and far between. I also know a few people who have been volume queens in the past that, went through like some stress fracture problems. Some of it was nutritionally related, some of it maybe hormonally related, but eventually everybody gets injured if they're a volume queen. Not a lot of people can just tack on the volume and tack on the volume and tack on the volume and be like, yeah, I'm good. Very, very few people. And if people are, they're probably professional athletes.
I think it's funny that for the run program, it went too high intensity.
Yeah.
strength training, it went too low.
Well, and I wouldn't even call it intensity. I would just say the volume was like obscene.
Well,
Intensity was the one tempo run a week.
Well, and that's what I mean.
No.
Like it did too much for a run program and not enough for a strength program, which I do actually think pretty much fits the world. I feel like endurance athletes tend to do too much, and people who are strength training or looking to grow muscles tend to do too little. So I think that actually fits the world pretty well. Most people who come to me looking for workouts, I get them to keep a workout log, same as I get them to keep a food log. And usually the intensity, the volume just isn't there. And it's fairly obvious why we're not getting to where we want to be. And I think that GPT strength program reflected that pretty accurately. And I think overall, both programs were just like, they were just a meh from both of us. Like other than the volume of running, there was nothing insanely wrong with them, but there also wasn't anything great. Like you're getting a very average, it might work, but it probably won't type of program.
Yeah. And I've seen the generic programs that you can download from Nike, from Garmin, from any of those platforms that are giving you a free run program. They're all the same. Most of them are generally, they're all very generic. They're all, well, obviously they're generic. They're all very high volume for the most part. And none of them leave room for any sort of structured strength training program, which if you're running with me, I'm sorry, but you're getting a strength training program.
Yeah. And I just think it's
no, I'm not apologizing for that. You're getting a strength training program.
Yeah. Anything you get for free is never going to be anything special. Will I say like it's better than nothing? Sure, maybe.
I don't know. I think I would just be like, you know what, you should probably just run how you feel.
Well, like if someone was like, hey, I need a workout program to follow, like the one ChatGPT gave, it's not going to do any harm. But like I said, it's not going to get you to those specific goals. Maybe if I was like, hey, I just want to go to the gym and work out, I think the program it gave me would better fit that versus the specific goals I gave it. But the common theme is you're going to get what you pay for. Like, is it going to do severe harm? We hope not. Is it going to get you exactly to where you want to be? Probably not. So you're just going to be kind of doing something. It might not be the right something.
Yeah. And I would hope that nobody would go into a program and just blindly follow and not listen to their body in any way, shape, or form, even if you're struggling with what that feels like. I would hope that if you were doing a high volume run program and you suddenly found yourself being like, I am too tired to run today, but I'm supposed to run 22 kilometers. It's only Thursday. And you're just like dying inside, that you would stop that program before it was too late. The other thing I wanted to mention is that for the running, very few people are going to be fueling enough for a 98-kilometer run week. You are going to have to eat every minute that you're not running. Your body is just going to be trying to eat itself from the inside out. But I think that's a good place to kind of like, basically for lack of a better term, meh. Is ChatGPT fit for the pit? I think so. Jill's like, I don't know what that is. Street sense. People who know will know. I think we've talked about it before. I said it about Beyond Body. Fit for the pit.
But yeah, if you are looking for a program to follow, I know both Jess and I, we won't give you the specifics because this episode's already 18 years long. Far longer than your normal episodes are. If you are in need of a program to follow, you want some like low entry options. Jess and I both have workout programs that are fairly low budget that will actually help you, especially if you're just looking for somewhere to start. If you have specific goals, get off your wallet and hire a coach. I say that with so much love, but like the free programs are not going to get you to where you want to be anyways. And if you're serious about reaching those goals, you're going to be better off having a program specific to you and having a coach that's going to help adjust on the fly as you go. If you have any questions specific about workouts or questions about programs you're already following, you can always send us a message over at Lattes and Lifting Podcast on Instagram, you can find me at coachjill.april, and you can send me your program if you want. If you want us to review a workout program you're doing.
Yeah. I was just going to say, if you have a program that's a disaster or that turned out to be a disaster, send it to us. We won't hang anybody specific out to dry. You can like, if somebody's name's on it, you can take that off. But
if you're
we would love to see your disaster programs.
Or if you're like, hey, I got this free program with the goal of doing X, Y, and Z. Will it actually get me there? We will give you our honest opinions.
A little review episode. That sounds super fun. And I was going to say, as you said, like, get off your wallet. Thus continues the season of tough love around here. You guys know it. We love to give it to you. If you already got all of our socials, feel free to, I'm going to pop a question on this in Spotify. Again, this episode, if you listen to it and you want to know a little bit more what we were talking about, go over to our YouTube channel and watch it there. We did share our screen so you can see what we were talking about. Hopefully we did enough describing so that you're not super confused. Yeah, give us a like, follow, a subscribe, however it works over there on the YouTube. And if you're not following me already, it is at JLAC Fitness on all the socials.
And we will catch you guys next time.
Bye.